Welcome back to the Ingredients for Success podcast. I'm your host, Jackie Rizzo, and today I get the privilege of talking with Steve Wiltshire. Steve is the Keynote Speaker, author, mindset coach, and founder of Body, Temple, Health and Wellness. Steve, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. And I first of all want to start off and just say, wow, the work that you're doing, your team, on your podcast, Natural Ingredients, speaks my language, so much to talk about. And wow, good work. I want to lead everybody to this podcast. Phenomenal. Can't wait to listen to more episodes.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, for sure. Now, Steve, I have been super excited to have this conversation with you because you have been in the industry, the fitness, health, and wellness industry for quite a while. What has been your passion and drive to get you to where you are today?
Great question. When I think of, we'll talk more about this, but my son's mother, who is the co-founder of Body, Temple, Health and Wellness, and my entrepreneur brand, watching her heal herself from third stage cancer, no chemo, no radiation. I'll never forget that conversation when she sat down with Quinn and I, and she said, I have cancer. I've had it for 2 weeks. I've been thinking about my journey. I'm going to go alternative. And I looked at her, I looked at my son. The first thought I had was, what if she doesn't live? And that was the beginning of when I knew I was being led in a new journey. And my passion is getting people off the stands and in the court. We live in a country that, long conversation, but per capita, we are one of the top sickest countries in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And our journey, health affects everything.
Yeah, it sure does. It definitely sure does. Now that leads me into what you do with the Body, Temple, Health and Wellness. There is, you have a saying on your site that it says, maintain a healthy body in today's toxic world. And I would love to hear more about your journey there and how you help people to get to that overall health process for them.
Yeah, well, people find us from many different avenues, a lot of referrals, podcasts, YouTube, and our journey is to help people take charge of their health, body, and mindset. Contrast is an interesting thing, isn't it? We go through life and we experience these wanted and unwanted conditions. And I think a lot of people look at contrast like it's not a good thing. It's just the truth. It's polarity. It's the opposite. And when we are cognizant of what we don't want, the beautiful thing is we get clear about what we do want. And often we start to notice this slight edge of not feeling well, or something's wrong, or how many people have I talked to that know something is wrong and they get their labs back and their tests come back negative. And I often say, you're probably in the midst of manifesting it. And this is the gray stage where you can simply start to make changes that are going to support the outcome that you want. And so we do that through coaching. We do that through resources. We have a small chemical-free supplement line. We focus on the gut. We'll talk more about the gut. That was my journey. Not realizing what I was doing was not going to sustain my age as I grew older. And so in all of that, we like to help people become resourceful and resilient. I just have found that in this day and age, people don't know where to begin and they're overloaded with content. And so what we do is we slow down that process to help them create a customized plan. Our motto is make a decision, you're ready for change. Together, we'll create your ideal wellness plan. And third, we'll support you in shifting your poor habits to ideal habits and notice the triggers. I love talking about triggers. It's my specialty, mindset. And my actual 20 years of coaching started with entrepreneurs and helping them make these shifts. And I just have brought a lot of what I've learned. Love to give kudos to Tony Robbins, 38 events and coaching program. And it's awesome to see people make these decisions and see these wins that compound and build momentum, and all of a sudden they're seeing the transformation that's happening externally from their internal world, right? Because first in thought, then in form.
Yeah, I love hearing that. It definitely, we have to start with the mindset in order to make change happen. So I appreciate that you said that, and that you actually offer programs, educational programs, for people to get to that point. Because like you said, there's content everywhere. So what is right, and what can we learn from that? That is out there, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. And you had mentioned about, you have a supplement line that is chemical free, and that came out of your journey. Is that correct?
It came out of me getting sick and realizing that it was what I was putting in my body. It was these radical meal plans. It was toxins in ingredients. Me thinking, I don't have any sugar in my body. Well, it's all these labels that have ingredients that are disguised as sugar. And then me taking this massive amount of supplements every month and recognizing that it was destroying my gut. Like, I didn't get it. And hiring experts, focused on, that's been my game for many, many years as an entrepreneur coach, always having a coach, always hiring experts. And so I played that game in the bodybuilding world, never had done steroids. And in that, realizing, oh, wow, just one day my gut quit. Yeah, when I go back and think of how I got here, everyone that's known me for the last 30 years would say Steve Wiltshire models ideal health. And it's just my thing that I do for myself. And before I got sick, I thought everything that I was doing was ideal. And most everything that I learned from experts about these radical meal plans, like keto, well, certain aspects of keto and supplements with chemicals in them, was wrong. And I had no signs leading up to my illness. I remember being with my son in a vegan restaurant about 10, 11 years ago. And I just all of a sudden started to blow up. My stomach started to blow up to the point where I stood up, and he's 12 years old at the time. He looks at me and he's like, dude, what happened to your abs? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel right. Should I go to ER? Like I didn't feel right. And so it just continued to happen every time that I ate, and doctors were no help. I got my labs back. They actually looked great. And the good news is Lynn had already been on this 2-year journey of healing herself from 3rd stage cancer. And hey, FYI, by the way, she lives and taught me the philosophy and the practices of the Hippocrates Wellness Institute in Southern Florida. So it was this whole shift into plant-based and life sprouts and no chemicals. And, we don't always have to go down that route unless we have a condition, love that name, not a disease, because we are capable of healing ourselves or reversing, better said, our condition to our natural state through supplementation and the choices that we make, right? And so in all of that, I just started to learn to put plant-based in my body. And after I shifted from doctors to, I like to call them healers, even though they might be disguised as a naturopath, for example, I realized I could heal myself just like Lynn did. And I think that we all have to hear this. I'm constantly reminding myself, well, I don't feel right. It's okay to get some blood work in between. And your role is to get lab tests, not always from doctors, because they're not always wide range. They're not always all the tests that you want, where you can see where you're at. And most often it's tapping into our, I'll say, inner guidance system. Your soul is one step ahead. When you start to get familiar with your body, you can tell, your kidney starts to get irritated, or you can tell that you're just not feeling right. And what is it, Jackie, about parasites that no one ever talks about? Almost 14% of the world is walking around with parasites, and nobody talks about parasites. And parasites are contracted by chemicals and toxins contained in processed foods, supplements, water, animal protein, even contracted by sexual intercourse. And I had parasites. It was crazy. Could not believe what I had manifested, and thinking that, I looked great from the outside, but I was pretty sick internally.
Yeah, that is great information. It is well recognized that one of the key roles to our overall health throughout our lifetime is our digestive tract. And, it's the area that it's where our immune system is just exposed to everything that we're consuming. And so as you're talking, that's all I'm thinking about is this, yes, everything that you're consuming here is affecting your overall health, and that's for all of us. And you had mentioned about supplements and how, some of them do carry, products that are on the shelf do carry chemicals. They have chemicals in them, and they're not really great for us. And I think that that's a wake-up call for our industry, is to make sure that we are producing, just pure and quality and high integrity products that go on the shelves to help the end consumer, because that's why we're in this industry, is to make sure we're helping others to get better. And that's, when you speak like that and you talk about clean labeling, that is where our company Stratum, definitely is our foundation is we want science-backed ingredients that are going out to our ingredient partners and our brand partners, and so that it just helps the end consumer. And so I really appreciate that.
There are these different levels that I think everybody needs to hear. Like there are certain pro and prebiotics that you can't stay on a shelf very long with certain ingredients. And yeah, I get that. And when you are going down this path and you're extremely sick, or you need to go narrow, then you're having to make alternative choices. But I know I'm not there. Like I'm healed, and there's, I can have alcohol if I choose to, or I can have a pretty decent product that might have a few chemicals in them that are not extreme. So, we can go extreme. And I see experts out there that go extreme, and their clients, or I'll say in some cases their patients, they can't live up to it. And so it's like this challenge for them. We have to take these baby steps leading up to it. And that's why having a support team and learning new education.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to, you had mentioned about prebiotics and probiotics and their shelf life. And one of the things that is trending right now is in the digestive health is postbiotics. So we have our pre and our pro and now our post. And we actually carry an ingredient that has been around for over a century, showing the health benefits, which is called L-biome. And I think that what you're saying about education is that yes, it's great for us, it's on the market, but how do we get it into the hands and that knowledge to the end consumer to help better themselves for overall health?
I love that question, because we're always really looking at it from two paths. Like if you ask yourself what is in my realm of control? Like think about the pandemic and think about all the changes that happened. I'm talking general right now, since March of 2020. I've been a keynote speaker for 20 years. I do events, I do seminars. My whole life changed. I had 68 events cancel in 2020. Many people's lives changed. At one point we had 25 million people in America out of work. And so we know when we look at it and we get to a place of personal power, that's really what it is, because we're dealing from circumstantial power or circumstantial power. And personal power or circumstantial power. So even like circumstantial power is winning a lottery ticket. Kind of happened, it was grace, right? Or good things are happening to you, but they're external. That's great news, but personal power is really where we want to be. And that means what is in your realm of control? What do we really have? Our attitude, our disposition, our choices, our action steps. And so you make a decision every day about what you're going to put in your mind, what you're going to put in your body, and what you are going to put into your spirit. And so in all of that, we start to learn to get educated. So if I think of, for example, the shift that's happened for people that have healed themselves, Joe Dispenza is a great person to research on YouTube, to watch. Like it's, so I'll finish my thought. Personal power, choices that you make. And second, who are the experts that you're hiring? What are the wellness treatments you're doing? You know, I jumped on this interview talking about that I hadn't got sleep for a couple of days. Last night I did, but I had a challenge with a pinched nerve. Well, I've never not been able to sleep. I've never really had a pinched nerve. And so acupuncture, physical therapy, got into my amazing, massage therapist the last couple of days, had to adjust a couple of clients, but I put well-being on the top of my list because everybody in my life suffers or benefits based on my well-being. You know, your health doesn't just affect you. Your health affects your family, your finances, your business, your career, your ability to be at your best in all of that. And sometimes faith, you start to doubt your creator, when in reality, a lot of it is just about being in this receptive mode to what's happening, because that's where the transformation happens. So like everything happens in environments. You know, we want to get healthy or we want to get physically fit. We go somewhere, we go to yoga, or we go to the gym, or we hire a trainer, we start to run. And the same thing with health. And the greatest decision that you can make is to have a morning ritual that nobody gets but you. It's your morning and it's your time to go through how you can do general meditation, or you can start writing out your affirmations. You know, when people start to experience these triggers, like I did when I got sick and had to go 12 weeks on grapefruit, like that was my regimen, 12 weeks on grapefruit, really. And I remember just, you know, the challenge that I had, and wanting to eat other things, and wanting to a couple times even have a glass of wine. And that affirmation that was just planted in my mind, my health is going to be ideal soon. Everything that I put in my mouth is healthy. And just it's a template, you know, and it's amazing what happens when we're clear about where we're headed. We know what we want to change. We're committed to that. And then we have a wellness plan and we stick to it. And then we're gentle with ourselves, enjoying the journey and staying in process, because you will transform.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate what you said there. It is, you know, what comes into our mouth, what comes into our body is that ripple effect that, yes, we make that conscious decision that we are going to take better care of ourselves. So that is through what we eat. And then that ripple effect affects those around us. And so it's a great visual, I feel like, to have, you know, thinking of the morning routine and how will that affect me personally? Yes, but then what beauty comes from that ripple effect? You know, you mentioned like with family, friends, and finances. And so I just really appreciate that visual.
And since you're there, those are really the four areas. You know, I mean, we're not just focused on our health, we're focused on often our career and finances. And third, our relationships. And fourth, our faith. Like when I think of how Body Temple got created and all the content that I wrote, you know, it was led by that morning ritual. It was led by, I like to call it circumstantial power. And what's that mean? I just decided the ideal people and resources and education was going to find me, or I was going to notice it. It would show up in my feed. It would show up in, like, it's just crazy to look back. Like anything that you want in life, all of you that are listening, you can manifest it first in thought, then in form. That vision is the beginning. What desire is the beginning. Like when we want change, and sometimes we are in a place of just big challenge or adversity. The good news is when you make the decision, I'm ready for change, it will just start to find you. Mm-hmm. And especially if you just show up. Mm-hmm. So I know, like, when I look back at getting sick, I would say that most, at that point, all these aggressive meal plans and supplements that I was on created this illness. But then I started to research, about the gut. Like, I consider myself a gut expert. And I realized that, wow, 30% of this was probably my choices. What does that mean? I had a lot of anxiety. I didn't have depression, but I had anxiety, and depression and anxiety affect the gut. Like, for all of you that are parents, when your child has anxiety or depression, most often you won't see it on their poker face. They'll look at you and say, "Mommy, my tummy hurts." And that's when I started to see that there was research, that there was a direct correlation between thoughts, anxiety, depression. In fact, I wrote a book on how I diminished ebook depression and anxiety, not mainly depression, but that was part of it, without drugs, everything that I did to get out of that. And my story is that I had friends for years that were in my 40s just saying, "When are you going to do a fitness show, man? You need to do a fitness show." I just couldn't even imagine it. I had so much going on, traveling all over, I had way too many clients. And then I just, at 44, just decided, why not? Why don't I do a show? Why don't I just be in the best possible shape, mind, body, spirit, at 44? So I decided to move into it. And this is what I really want to share with you, is that it was the first time in my life that I realized my health choices were something I could completely control. It was the only thing in my life that I realized nobody, no team member, no spouse, no child, nothing, there's no decision that anybody can make that will affect my health. And when I had to get like into that 90 percentile for 4 months and really concentrate on it, it was like, wow, this is just so liberating. And so I ended up competing in 2 shows. Not that it matters. I won first place in multiple categories, and won Mr. Oregon bodybuilding contest. And that wasn't even the point. I just wanted to be in the best possible shape. But I realized I was so elevated, especially for those 12 weeks before both those shows, because it was like, wow, every decision I make is mine. I get to own it, whether I follow through or not. And then my gut quit. And I just stayed on this regimen, this supplement regimen. I was thinking about that last night as I was making a ton of meals for the week, and how long it takes. And I was getting a little frustrated. And then that thought led to, you really enjoy doing this. And for years, you didn't. You took more supplements than you ate food. And then for 2 years later, that's when my gut quit. And that's when I felt so naive. I didn't realize that 92% of the supplements on the market had chemicals in them. I didn't know that some were owned by pharmaceutical drugs, whatever. But I didn't know that harsh meal plans like keto can potentially cause kidney stones and nutrient deficient, and are hard on even heart disease, extremely hard on the liver and the pancreas, thyroid. Who the heck would have thought that? Like, I would have never thought that. I just thought that what I was doing was right. And looking back, I looked really healthy on the outside, but I was pretty sick inside. I remember when the inflammation started to flow, and I'd look at my face, and all of a sudden it was like I had this massive inflammation. And I just didn't know what I didn't know. We know what we don't know, but we don't know what we don't know. I'm in a sauna 5 days a week. I'm at Bikram yoga 2 days a week. The sweating, like there is a regimen that's easy for many of you to follow. In fact, we have a free gift for all of you called our 15-day Kickstart Detox program. And it's great timing because it just actually launched the first week of, or Monday prior to Thanksgiving. And but in all of that, like, it teaches you, it's a catchy name, but it teaches you how to detox and how to gradually work into this maintenance process where you're able to completely detox. And you won't believe what happens when you do that. Your clarity elevates, your focus elevates, your joy elevates. You learn a lot about, you can just experience your hormones, like your happy hormones, like serotonin and dopamine. And all of a sudden, every area of your life is getting better. And for those of you that are older, I'm 57, I love when people say, wow, you don't even look your age, or they ask me questions about how I stay so healthy. But we want to sustain that vitality. as we age. It's huge.
It definitely is huge. And you mentioned a free gift, and I'll be sure that we include that in our comments and on our social posts so people can find it. So thank you so much for offering that, especially, here so many months into year into the pandemic, year and a half here, and coming into the new year. I think that it's just a good reminder for us to detox and to, a lot of people are starting those New Year's resolutions and the better me is coming.
That would be a great affirmation. The better me is coming. Every time you have doubt, your mind's so quick after a while. The better me is coming. The better me is coming. And then all of a sudden you start making good choices. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was brilliant.
No, thank you. Actually, our time is about to come to a close, but I'm very grateful for you and for your story. I think that it's very inspiring. And I know our listeners will be inspired as well. One of the silver linings coming out of this pandemic is that more people are starting to look at their health and understand that it's not just, I think of my health when I get sick, but it's every day, all year round, this is when I need to take care of myself. And you've been a true inspiration in that. So thank you very much. I'm so glad you came on the show.
So notice what Jackie just said, right? We have this inkling we want change. So it starts with a desire. And sometimes just unwanted conditions and asking yourself, what do I want? If it were ideal, what would I want? Get your mind in that mindset. And then vision's born from that. And then intention's born from vision. And intention's commitment. But we don't make a commitment, we don't have a plan. And many of you are looking at other people that you aspire to or wanting something different. And that means you want to be in this state where you're unstoppable. And what gets us there is strategy, because the story is controlling you. It's this thing that you make true. I call true north. You make it true north. It's not really true, but you make it true. This is a recurring thought. I'll never feel good. I'll never lose weight. I'll never be sexy. I'll never be healthy again. I'm always going to be on these pharmaceutical drugs. And when you shift your strategy, your belief elevates. Because what is manifestation? It's where belief and desire match. And the strategy, this is what I find, we help people create a strategy. And then they see within a week or 2 weeks, wow, I'm getting these wins and I'm feeling better. And that's what you're going to get out of the Kickstart Detox program. It's very simple. Body Temple, which is the name of the company, Kickstart.com, bodytemplekickstart.com. And it's right there in the show notes as well. And You'll notice that not only are you going to get this 43-minute video on how to detox, we have a gut detox manual, we have a shopping guide, we have ingredients, toxic ingredients to avoid. We've got an online community. We are a philanthropic movement at our best. All these coaches answering questions online, full access, 100% complimentary. So we're about paying it forward and helping people get started. And we do that because this is the love that we're about. And so can't wait to support you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That's exactly what we need, is to get the education into the hands of the end consumer. And we're basically all end consumers. Everyone listening to this, they're product development, formulators, C-levels, but we're all end consumers. So I just thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wealth of knowledge and wisdom through all of the years that you have journeyed through this industry.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. We'll talk soon, Steve.
Thank you, Jackie.
Bye.